Hey yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to my channel. This is Mauro and today we're gonna react to Geography Now, Bolivia. We got another South American country. This time we're gonna check out this beautiful country of Bolivia. I don't know that much about this country, I know that the capital is La Paz. I know in football they always host the games in the capital because the altitude is so high, so other people play in disadvantage and they lose every game this way. So they're pretty smart. They're pretty smart people. That I can say for sure. But I don't know that much. I know they speak Spanish and a bunch of other languages. I think Guarani also, Quechua. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think I know these kind of things, but I don't. So I don't want to sound so smart when I'm not. So let's just check out the video.
Geography peeps. So I actually had the pleasure of going to Bolivia a couple of years ago. So in this episode,
nice.
You're going to see some of the great footage that I took with my crappy 2010 Panasonic camcorder.
It's time to learn
that's so
geography.
I like so much the episode when he went to the place, like the one in Iceland.
We are so gonna live it up in Bolivia. Ha!
No punches here.
Alright, another flag that has a lot of things to look at. Let's see if we can do this faster than Belize's flag, shall we? First of all, the flag is a horizontal tricolor flag with 3 bands, red, yellow, and green, with the coat of arms in the center. The red represents, once again, say it with me, the blood shed for those who fought for the country. The yellow represents the wealth of resources, and the green represents the richness of natural areas and hope. The coat of arms is a little more complex. First of all, in the center is a cartouche image of Mount Potosi with the sun rising over it, with a llama, a palm tree, and a bale of wheat representing the nation's resources, surrounded by a blue border with 10 stars representing the 9 departments and the 10th former province, Litoral, which was taken by Chile in the 18th.
Wow, I gotta say, this is one of the most beautiful flags I ever see. Usually it's just like a bunch of colors together, a flag, but this one is so representative. That's really nice.
1800s. Finally, you have the name of Bolivia above. Then you have 6 Bolivian flags on either side, once again making Bolivia one of the few countries that has a flag with miniature versions of its own flag on its own flag. Then you have the 4 muskets in the back with 2 cannons in front representing the struggle and fight for independence. On top of the cannons, you have a Phrygian hood and an axe representing liberty and freedom. On top of everything, you have a condor and laurel branches that stand for peace and the willingness to defend. Keep in mind, you also might see this flag a lot in Bolivia, also known as the Huipala, which is also kind of seen as a national symbol, but could also be referenced towards the indigenous people of Bolivia, and more specifically the Aymara people, which make up a huge population demographic of the country. Did we do it? Did we beat Belize? Alright, Bolivia, you are in the lead as the most complex flag that we have done here on Geography Now. Congrats.
That was really complex.
Bolivia is a very interestingly situated country, and to kind of understand it, you have to travel back in time. But later, not now. First off, today Bolivia is landlocked, located in South America, bordered by 5 other countries: Peru, Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, and Chile. The country has very meticulously surveyed borders with every single one of its neighbor countries, and that's kind of partially because they kind of had a lot of wars with every single one of them. Even little Paraguay? Oh, especially Paraguay. That little dude knows how to fight. Now, here's the thing. In the past, Bolivia actually had a lot more land than it did today. In fact, in the past, it had a province called Litoral, which is what the 10th star on the flag is referring to, which was the only area that Bolivia had access to the ocean. Long story short, Chile got that part, Brazil took these parts, and Paraguay got this part. So anyway, Bolivia is divided into 9 regions, and technically it has 2 capitals: La Paz, also known by its official name Nuestra Señora de la Paz, which means Our Lady of Peace, and Sucre, which means sugar.
Wait. I'm confusing. So La Paz, 2 capital it has, because I was always convinced back in the days that La Paz was the capital, but then I went on Google and it was written that it was Sucre. So now it's 2 official capital, or this video is too old, so now it's only Sucre? Let me know down in the comments.
A little hard to explain, but essentially Sucre is the constitutional capital where the Supreme Court is located, but La Paz is where all the seats of government reside. The legislative, executive branches are both found in the city, and even the president resides in the Palacio Quemado Palace in La Paz. And since China took over Tibet, that made La Paz the world's highest capital at about 12,000 feet or 3,700 meters above sea level. The height is so extreme that typically visitors might find themselves short of of breathing and might experience altitude sickness, in which the Bolivians will be happy to provide you with coca leaves, not cocoa leaves, coca leaves, as a remedy. You can either make it into a tea or chew them up raw and dried. Water also boils at a different temperature at about 88 degrees Celsius, which makes things typically take a little bit longer to cook. Also, the air pressure is so light here that many plasma TVs don't even work, and it has to do with some kind of sciencey reason about the phosphor pods being lit by electrodes. I don't know.
Okay. That means I will never be able to live there.
Learn some chemistry later! La Paz is a beautiful city with the frighteningly majestic snow-capped Mount Illimani overlooking everything in the southwest. It has a plethora of skyscrapers and monuments. Getting out of La Paz is the tricky part. This glorious urban gem is locked and tucked away in the Andes Mountains, so you really only have like two extreme options. If you head west, you have to pass through the driest desert in the world, the Atacama, which looks virtually indistinguishable from the moon at some points with no living plants in sight for miles. And heading east, you have to pass through the mountains where you are so high you can literally see the clouds below you as you drive into the tropical Amazon basin. But before you do, you have to go on the Yungas Highway, otherwise known as the Calle del Muerte, or the Death Road. The road at its narrowest is only about 3
Oh my god. Let me know down in the comments this also, if any Bolivian is watching this video. I read that there was a road that many football players, they had to take this road to go to play against a away team, and many times they died. So was this the road? Because I remember I read something like that. I'm not sure if it was Bolivia, but it was in South America for sure.
Meters wide, or the width of an actual vehicle, and sits over the ledge of a drop well over 600 meters or 2,000 feet with no guardrail. Nonetheless, this road is still technically a 2-lane highway that offers traffic to drivers going in each direction. Every few hundred meters, there are shoulder curbs that drivers can use to allow other cars to pass on the opposite side. Every year, it's estimated that about 200 to 300 people die on this road alone. However, it's funny because this one road has actually become a huge tourist destination of Bolivia. Yeah, the landscape in Bolivia is quite intense. Let's talk about that in...
Oh man. Gotta have that wish.
Okay, so Bolivia has some of the most contrasting landscapes you'll see in all of South America, let alone the world. First of all, about a third of the country is covered in the rocky, dry, snow-capped Andes Mountains to the west, and to the east, after traversing the mountains, you enter the hot, humid, wet pampas or rainforest zone. As the most sparsely populated country in all of South America, Bolivia's interior is widely untouched and uncultivated. In fact, you can even book your own 3-day eco tour that involves getting your own cabin, food, and doing activities like fishing for piranhas, feeding wild monkeys, interacting with crocodiles, and swimming with pink river dolphins, all for about $70. Yeah, the exchange rate is that good in Bolivia. Otherwise, if you stay in the west side, you can still experience some amazing geological anomalies. In the south, in the Potosi province, you reach Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat. In the dry summer months, this creepishly serene area is a complete...
Oh my god. I think that Barbs should make its own platform, to receive money for traveling to different places, because we saw also in the St. Kitts and Nevis in the episode of Iceland. Oh my god, the episode is so much better when he went there and showed his clips from there in his picture. They should do that. The new countries that you still haven't had your reaction. So countries from SI, yeah, they arrived to Sierra Leone. Please send some money to Barbs to do your country in a better way.
Completely flat white salt bed that goes on and on for miles to the ends of the horizon. In the wet winter months, the rains pour down heavily, covering the entire area in a shallow, watery gloss that you can walk in, and respectively becomes the world's largest mirror. Further north, closer to La Paz, you reach Lake Titicaca, the highest lake in the world, which they share with Peru. It's kind of funny though, because even though Bolivia doesn't have a coastline, they still have a navy, which for the most part patrols over the lakes and the rivers. Agriculture makes up about a quarter of the GDP, even though about 2% of the country is cultivated for crops. Despite the fact that arable land is quite abundant, it's just not used. Cash crops are coffee, cotton, and coca, not cocoa, coca, the controversial little leaf that when used correctly can help heal sickness, and when used destructively can create a little drug known for causing the deaths of many. I'm talking about gin martinis. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm talking about cocaine. No, but seriously, gin martinis are like the worst thing ever. I don't understand why anybody would have... Sorry, this is about Bolivia again. No, but seriously, the coca leaf has been grown in the country for centuries and has actually gotten Bolivia in a lot of heat, even with some of their friends. Friends we'll discuss about in the friend zone, but first we have to talk about the...
demographics.
Bolivia's people are pretty much unlike any other people in South America, and here's why. First of all, the country has a little over 10.5 million people, and along with Peru, is one of only 2 countries in South America in which Amerindians make up the majority, and is the only country in the Americas, let alone the world, in which Amerindians make up over half of the population. Otherwise, about 30% are mestizo and about 15% are white. In terms of Amerindian subdivisions, there are 30 people groups. However, the largest ones are the Quichua, the Aymara, and the Guarani. Most of the Aymaras and Quichuas live in the west, in the Andes mountain range.
Wait, sorry. I said something stupid. I said Chechua instead of Quichua. Okay, sorry. I mispronounced.
Whereas most of the Guaranis and other Amazon tribal peoples live mostly in the east and in the heavily forested Pampas, which in addition to Spanish make up the 4 official languages of Bolivia. At the end of the day, however, pretty much everybody speaks Spanish. However, Bolivian Spanish is a little different from the standard Mexican or Spain Spanish that most people are taught. In addition to an accent heavily influenced by indigenous languages, a whole different vocabulary exists. For example, instead of hearing hombre, you might hear varone. Instead of hearing basura, you might hear chorita. And sometimes niño becomes tili. No tengo dinero. Huh? Estoy yesca? Todavía me debes dinero, cabrón. Now, here's how Bolivia kind of divides itself. Kind of like Belgium, you have 2 regionally distinct identifiable people groups. The Collas, or the people who live in the west by the Andes, and the Cambas, or the people that live in the east in the rainforest. I mean, technically there's a 3rd people group called the Chapacos who kind of have their own little thing going on, and the people of Tarija identify more with Argentina rather than any people group, but most people fall within the Colla and Camba categories. These 2 people groups are quite distinct in their cultures due to the fact that they live completely different lives in completely different atmospheres that they've adapted to. Culture-wise, Bolivia is quite noticeably particular from its neighbors. For one, they are much more heavily influenced by indigenous customs, rituals, and clothing, and even festivals. Interesting side note, you can typically bet on it that a woman is from Bolivia if you see her wearing one of those round, small bowler hats, whereas Peruvian women like to wear the western hats with the flatter brim. Granted, I'm not saying all Peruvian or Bolivian women look like that, I'm just saying it's a very prevalent look in many of the rural areas. Ha! Good move, Paul. You win this round, but we're watching you. Another funny side note, if you visit La Paz and El Alto, make sure you buy a ticket to buy the Wrestling Cholita show, in which women wrestle both men and each other while wearing the traditional clothing. What a great way to make friends.
Oh my god, nah, I can't believe that. Let me rewind. Oh my god, that's amazing.
You win this round, but we're watching you. Another funny side note, if you visit La Paz and El Alto, make sure you buy a ticket to buy the Wrestling Cholita show, in which women wrestle both men and each other while wearing the traditional clothing. What a great way to make friends. Speaking of friends...
That's like a WrestleMania without no rules, with a bottle of water, with a piece of wood. Oh my god, that's so cool.
When it comes to diplomatic relations, Bolivia is kind of like, I don't like you, I think, but I'll still give you an embassy. First of all, with the exception of Peru, Bolivia's relations with all their immediate neighbors are all kind of strained a little bit. Paraguay, because of the Gran Chaco area dispute that led to war, then you have Brazil and the Acre War, and Chile with the Pacific War. Even Argentina had a few scuffles with Bolivia. Nonetheless, all these countries still have relatively close ties, and they all have their own embassies and consulates in Bolivia. Then we get to Israel, and things get a little weird, because the president doesn't really favor Israel and has threatened to cut ties with them, but many of the Bolivian people are incredibly against this, as Israelis make up a huge demographic of the tourism sector. In many places in La Paz, you can even find street signs and posters printed in Hebrew, and many of the locals actually learn how to speak Hebrew to accommodate the visitors. Without the Israelis, they actually might lose a huge potential in revenue. Bolivia's best new friends might be Venezuela and Cuba. This is actually kind of new, considering that relations weren't really that strong before. The reason has something to kind of do with the fact that they all agree with the same anti-imperialist and socialist ideologies, which is kind of funny considering what happened to Che Guevara. In terms of their old best friend, Bolivia might probably consider Peru. They were even for a short period of time part of the same confederation and fought against Chile together. Peru, out of sympathy, has even allowed Bolivia to build a port on the ocean on their land that they can use. In conclusion, Bolivia likes to call itself the heart of South America, and considering all the amazing, astounding things that you'll encounter, it's not really hard to believe that saying. They just wish they had a coast. Stay tuned, Bosnia and Herzegovina is coming up next.
Wow. This episode was so nice. It was so nice and was so funny. Oh my god. I can't stop laughing if I think about the old ladies doing wrestling. And how strong were they? My god. Did you see that? Oh my god. So flexible and strong. Damn. Oh my god. It was so amazing. Yeah, I knew about some things. So guys, If you have additional insight, you can put it down in the comments. So I always like to learn something new about these countries, and I hope someday I will be able to travel and experience it from first person instead of just watching it here on YouTube with you guys. So I hope you have enjoyed this reaction. Don't forget to put a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for new videos. And I will see you next time.